welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and this is the Mayastar Podcast. Today is episode 33 in the Mayastar Unscripted series, and we're going to be talking about the Ethereal Crystals healing system. It's one of the most comprehensive systems I teach and one that I work with regularly. So I hope you're going to find this very interesting, and if you're new to working with crystals or experienced with working with crystals, this is a great system to add to your repertoire to give you other ways to connect with those energies, more versatile ways of channeling the energy of crystals, creating crystal grids and so on. As usual, I come armed with notes but without a script, so we'll be meandering around these topics and pursuing the scenic route to enlightenment. If this sounds interesting to you, stick around and while away the next half an hour or so with me as we explore these things together. Find out about the different ways you can work with me and discover my energy healing and spiritual development courses by visiting my website at mayastar.net. You can also join the Mayastar mailing list to stay up to date with the latest special offers. So the Ethereal Crystals Healing course is one of the courses that I've been teaching for a very long time, one that was added to the syllabus very early in the Mayastar journey. So it's one that I've worked with for a long time, and also one that I've shared with a lot of students over the years. One of the main benefits of working with the Ethereal Crystals energy healing attunements is that you can connect with a variety of crystal energies, even if you don't own the physical crystals, or if you do have the physical crystals but you don't have them with you at that time. So it frees you up when connecting with crystal energies and allows you to fine-tune your healing practice by incorporating different crystals based on the needs of that particular client or that particular situation that you're working on. So you can draw in the energies for different crystals that will work in that particular situation based on your knowledge and experience of those individual frequencies. So you can very much fine-tune your practice and learn to work with a variety of different energetic frequencies in one session. Now, there will be some learning to do with this course. You will have a lot of correspondences that are shared in the course manuals that help you to understand when a particular energy should be used and what it can be used for. So if I just take one of these crystals as an example, I'll just quickly skip down the list and share with you some of the properties. Okay, here we've got amethyst. So in the list of correspondences, we have the colour, violet purple, the celestial body associated with the crystal, in this case Jupiter, the chakra, crown or third eye, properties, tranquilizer, clearings, transformative, transmutation, physical, hormone balancing, headaches, lungs and metabolism, mental, alleviates insomnia and anxiety, emotional, balances highs and lows, helps at times of grief, spiritual, increases psychic awareness and deepens meditation. And all of the crystals that you're attuned to in this modality are detailed in this way. So that gives you some guidance as to how you might work with those energies or situations that they might be indicated for, which helps you to develop your healing skills as an energy worker, but it also helps you to learn more about crystals and to build up that catalogue of correspondences in your mind that's so important when it comes to developing your spiritual gifts and your awareness. In the same way as you learn about different symbols, and you might learn a system like the ancient Norse runes or the tarot to help you collect your correspondences together in a meaningful way within your mind, within your energy field, so that if you, for example, have a dream about an amethyst crystal, you wouldn't just think it's, oh, well, that's very interesting and amazing. You would immediately go to the fact that it might be trying to, your unconscious mind might be trying to communicate something based on the correspondences of that crystal, because you know the properties, you understand that amethyst is a symbol for a certain energetic flow, and that energetic flow has different qualities and different properties that you can work with in a variety of ways. So by learning systems that have those sorts of correspondences, like the ethereal crystal system, the Roomvalder system, Celtic Reiki, and the planets attunements, and the Celtic deities attunements, and also the elemental pentagram and magic circle empowerments course, and the Avalonian trilogy, which is the Avalonian alignment program, Star of Avalon ascension, and Avalonian spectral activations, which corresponds with a 9 chakra system. That's the 7 main chakras, and also the Earth Star and Soul Star chakras. These systems can help you to develop that catalogue of correspondences so that you can draw from that information whenever you're working intuitively, or during meditation, or during path workings. Perhaps you're meditating on a particular situation and you're trying to discover what would be the optimal energy to focus on to bring resolution. Then you might receive impressions during your meditation that you would have some understanding of their meaning if you've been working with these more complex systems that you wouldn't otherwise have. And although you can probably learn these correspondences over time by gradually collecting those crystals, but if you want to be able to work with certain crystals that may be inaccessible to you because of the price, for example, of things like diamond, like, well, you're not going to be able to do a complete energy healing. You'd have to be extremely wealthy to be able to do that. And by working with the ethereal crystals energy healing system, you can access those energies. But one of the ways that you can access those energies is simply by focusing your intentions. Once you've been attuned to these energies, you can activate the flow of those particular frequencies by tuning in and bringing your focus to that particular crystal. So in that sense, this course can also help people who struggle with focus during meditation or any spiritual practice, This is where it separates itself from a system like Usui Reiki, where it's a very structured system. Ethereal crystals has a structure because it has a lot of crystals, and each one is unique, and each one has its own unique applications and correspondences. So it's complex in that way, but it's very simple to apply because it only requires you to focus on those energies. Whereas with Usui Reiki, you'll be working with hand positions and with more complex symbols and that kind of thing, which makes Usui Reiki extremely powerful for beginners because those structured application methods sort of back you up before you have the confidence in what you're doing. But at the same time, some people find that a bit limiting, and they don't feel so confident working with Reiki in other ways once they're used to working with it. It's because they associate it with the structure of the hand position sequence. They might be less likely to connect with it while they're doing other things. But with a system like ethereal crystals, you are more likely to connect with it when you need to. Like perhaps you're at work, you're going through a stressful period at work, or you're surrounded by stressful people at work, and you might then tune in and bring in the energy of black tourmaline to protect your energy field and that kind of thing. Or you might want to clear the energy within your home, and perhaps you're going to be doing that using the violet flame, which is an alchemical energy, and you might then choose to strengthen that energy by channeling amethyst ethereal crystals energy during the process, or creating a crystal grid within your home to anchor those cleansing energies into the space. So it's very versatile, and it becomes much more versatile the more you learn about the different crystals and their properties and uses. Another thing to consider with this energy healing system is the fact that it combines so well with other healing practices. Now, I've just mentioned the violet flame attunement, probably thought of that because we were just talking about the amethyst energy, which would resonate most strongly with it. But, you know, there's a lot of possibilities for the energies that you can connect with. And another example might be you'd be working with Archangel Michael's sapphire flame. Perhaps you strengthen that energy or anchor it into your space by creating a crystal grid using sapphire ethereal crystals energy. Or perhaps you're working with the Lotus Fountain healing system, and you feel this is going to be complemented by the Moonstone ethereal crystals energy. So you combine those two energies in one session in order to amplify the effect. You can also use an ethereal crystals energy at the end of a session. Like as I often do, I work with black tourmaline for grounding. And tourmaline is one of the crystals that you are connected with through this system. But there are other grounding crystals that you are connected with that you might also work with in that regard. For example, hematite or bloodstone are very grounding. So you could bring in those energies at the end of your regular spiritual practice, just to bring your energy field back into alignment release any extra energy you've got floating around the system and close down your energy field to maintain your natural protection. And speaking of protection, there are plenty of energies that you might connect with for energy protection in there as well. For example, the snowflake obsidian or the diamond energy would both be good for energy protection. And you can also bring in the diamond or the clear quartz energy to amplify the effect of other energy healing systems or to amplify the effect of other ethereal crystals that you're bringing in. So it's very versatile, but you would need to be working with it for a while so that you understand the different properties of each stone. So although you can complete these attunements over a short space of time to really integrate those energies, you're going to be working with it for a while and learning to connect with each of the individual stones over a period of time so that you learn their properties and the correspondences and the situations where you might use them for different kinds of treatment or other applications, such as protecting your home, protecting your car, creating a relaxing bath ritual by charging the water in the bath with rose quartz, for example, or perhaps a high frequency aura cleanse while you're having a shower by bringing in the energy of citrine quartz, which is a very high frequency energy and can be used to cleanse your energy field and align you with a positive mindset. It's also a good stone for prosperity work. So yeah, there's just a great variety, the things that you would be able to use the ethereal crystal system to enhance. And the manuals for this modality are extremely detailed, including instructions on how to do crystal breathing exercises and create crystal grids for healing and protection, or to clear negativity, how to make gem elixirs, and how to cleanse and charge physical crystals using the ethereal crystal system. Now, in my own practice, my main uses for the ethereal crystal system, well, actually, there's one I use it sometimes when I'm actually working with a physical crystal. So that's probably one of the main times I'm connecting with the ethereal crystals is when I'm working with a physical crystal, but also within the temple for creating the sacred space. I create a crystal grid within the temple that's a protective barrier during energy work, spell casting, personal rituals, meditation, and healing sessions for other people. But what I would say is when I'm sending energy healing transmissions to other people, ethereal crystals is one of the energies that I work with most often in that regard. And it's because you're attuned to 60 different crystals. So you've got 60 energies to draw from through just one system. So I suppose it's not really surprising that I end up using that a lot more often than any other energy healing modality. Probably even more often than the Usui Reiki system, which is usually the foundation for the energy healing transmissions that I set up for other people. Now, if you're wondering, where does the ethereal crystal's energy actually come from? If it doesn't come from the physical crystals, how can you tap into it? Where is it actually from? Why isn't it tied into those crystals? Well, the ethereal crystal's energy, you're looking at a kind of spiritual construct, like a source of energy, a frequency of energy that's expressed in those particular stones. So if you tap into the rose quartz ethereal crystal's energy, that energy is also expressed in all of the rose quartz crystals everywhere, ever. And you can consider the source of the energy you're tapping into sort of like a collective soul for that particular stone. And I mean, the same applies to all of the crystals that you're attuned to in this system, but they all have their own unique frequency that ties them together and means that all of the crystals of a particular type are connected in some way on an energetic level. I tend to think of it as being the sort of soul source of those crystals. But I know not everybody thinks of crystals as having that kind of spiritual dimension to them. You might even just think that crystals look nice and they create good vibes because they look nice, and because you associate them with certain things, that's enough, and there isn't actually a special spiritual component to the properties of those crystals. And I think you'd find that they would still work, perhaps in a limited way. But if you're working with the ethereal crystals energy healing system, you become much more attuned to the energy of those individual crystals and much more connected in a spiritual sense to those energetic frequencies, so that you're able to almost commune with those energies with or without the physical crystal present. It changes the way that you view crystals in general, but only in a positive way, and it opens you up to be able to work with them in a variety of ways that you might not have considered if you were limited to only the physical crystals that you have and the number of those crystals that you have. I mean, you can create quite elaborate 3D crystal grids using ethereal crystals that wouldn't be possible because you can't defy gravity. You wouldn't be able to create those 3D crystal grids without using ethereal crystals. If you were limited to only physical crystals, that you would only create a flat crystal grid. So there's a lot of things that you can do in a more advanced way by combining ethereal crystals with your physical crystals if you use them for healing and within your spiritual practice. I think you can probably tell that this is one of my favourite systems. I think I've just talked continuously for about half an hour, but it is one of my favourite systems. And I mean, I wrote the course back in 2004, so we're talking right at the beginning of Mayastar Academy. So this is really right at the beginning. It might even be the second course that I wrote, second or third, because there was also the Kundalini Reiki. Yeah, right early on, there was the Usui Reiki course, the Violet Flame, the Ethereal Crystals, and Kundalini Reiki. I think those were the earliest courses that I began teaching, but they've also become the most popular. They are also courses that combine really well together and are particularly suitable for beginners. Gives you a great grounding in energy healing and gives you different ways to connect with those energies. Sort of different techniques that you can work with, and as you combine different energy healing systems together, you really develop your own style kind of thing. And I think that's probably why I'm such an advocate for the ethereal crystal system, because it really just allows you to, there's probably some relationship to the fact that I am so deeply connected to the Lemurian energies that means that I'm particularly fond of the ethereal crystals healing system, because crystals play a great role in Lemurian energy work. Not just Lemurian seed crystals, but all kinds of crystals. You might consider them a kind of earth technology, each with its own unique structure and vibration, combining the spiritual aspects of each stone and anchoring them into the earth through the physical crystals. And in the ancient times, all of our sacred monuments and temples were created from stones, but often decorated with crystals because people understood their unique properties, and people were much more in tune with those properties and qualities, and much more open to the spiritual aspects of those stones, considering them sacred and precious in ways that not many of us do these days. They really are gifts from the earth, from Mother Gaia, and something tangible that you can use to connect more deeply with those Earth Mother energies. I'm lucky enough to have developed quite a collection of crystals over the years of practice, but at the moment I'm working predominantly with a piece of amethyst and a piece of hematite in my daily work. But I've got a lot of absolutely stunning crystals, some that I have hardly used in a ritual context, but which really anchor the energy within the home kind of thing. Grounding crystals and protective crystals that have been charged for specific purposes, which then are sort of fed whenever I perform a clearing or a banishing work within the home, but which don't get handled. They don't need to be taken out and all of that kind of thing. They're not crystals that I'm handling regularly or using in a daily meditation, but they're always at work within the home, fulfilling an important purpose. And you develop a relationship with those stones. They become sacred objects. Anyway, I think that's probably everything that I wanted to cover for you today. And if you have any questions about the Ethereal Crystals Energy Healing course, do let me know in the comments and I'll address them in a future episode, because this is one that I could talk about all day. It's so versatile, and if you've been attuned to the ethereal crystal system, I'm sure you've realized that you never stop learning. There's always new ways to work with this energy, and although it's very complex when you start out because you're learning a lot about each individual crystal and its unique properties and applications, as you get used to all of that, you start to reach for these energies very intuitively. So let me know if you have any more questions about this modality, and I'll be sure to address them in a future episode. This brings us to the end of today's Unscripted episode. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope you're leaving this episode suffused with good vibes and great ideas. You can hear more from me today by exploring previous Unscripted episodes. And for the most up-to-date mystical musings and personal updates, please check out Maya Muse's blog at blog.mayastar.net. I hope you've had a good week, and I hope you're about to have another one. And I hope to see you back here again next week for some more mystical meanderings with me. In the meantime, I wish you peace, prosperity, and progress in all you do. With blessings.